अल्लाह ताला का बड़ा फजल और एहसान है कि जमात अहमदिया बरतानिया का जलसा सालाना गुज़श्ता हफ्ते खैरियत से मुनक़िद हुआ। जलसा सालाना के तीनों दिनों में हमने
and by the grace of Allah
के फज़ल और बरक़ात के नज़ारे देखे।
we have seen this,
और मौसम की वजह से
the signs of the blessings of Allah Almighty. Because of the weather there was some difficulty and some worry, but Allah Almighty made all these things right and kept us safe from all the ill effects of the weather, and everybody felt, everyone from among the participants, they felt that the divine help and help was descending each and every moment. So on this point we are extremely thankful to Allah Almighty, and the real gratitude can be expressed only in that case when in order to get the pleasure of Allah Almighty, we are always trying to get that. This gratefulness, it should be from the side of the workers, so that while we are able to get the pleasure of Allah Almighty, at the same time, because of this gratefulness, we should be also able to make certain improvements in our performance. And similarly, the participants should also be grateful, so that they can get more and more blessings of Allah Almighty, and they are able to observe that, and in their lives also pious changes are there in their lives. And the people, the workers who were appointed for the duties, we should be grateful to these people as well, because they participated. The Holy Prophet ﷺ has mentioned that the one who is not grateful to the people, he is also not grateful to God. So all the participants, those who attended this conference, and the workers, and they should be extremely grateful to the workers. And similarly, the workers, as I said, they should be grateful to God Almighty, as I said, in every respect, that they were able to look after the guests of the promised Messiah, or those who came for religious reasons in order to get the religious knowledge. All those who came, they were able to serve those guests. The fact of the matter is that Jalsa Salana, the annual Jalsa Salana, the objective, one of the objective of this Jalsa and gathering is that such a brotherhood and the sentiments of gratefulness for one another should be created, which should be exemplary. By the grace of Allah, this love and affection and brotherhood and the feelings, sentiments of that are expressed when we are showing it to our own people and to the non-Ahmadi guests. So then this is going to be very impressive for these people. Apart from scholarly programs and religious programs, the practical example of each and every Ahmadi, for all those people who are not Ahmadis, and they are greatly affected by that, and they do mention about that the manifestation of the true teaching of Islam was, they were able to see during the Jalsa, and we are very impressed by that. From the small children, from to the old age people in their own respective circles, with exceptional devotion and dedication, everyone was performing the duties. And similarly, the participants, without any feeling of unrest or worry or creating in disorder, they were participating very quietly, and they were benefiting from the programs. And this demonstration of the practical example is something which is surprising for the worldly people, that our guests, the non-Ahmadi guests, they have been mentioning their feelings. I will be mentioning some of the comments and the feelings of these people, which they mentioned after going through the experience of the annual gathering. And they mentioned it very openly, in open words, that if this is the teaching of Islam, so then this message needs to be spread all over the world. From Benin, the former foreign minister and the advisor to the president, Mariam Sahiba, she is the senior advisor to the president. She says that through this Jalsa, through this gathering, I was able to understand the Jamaat Ahmadiyya in great depth. I was very impressed by the arrangements of the Jalsa and the high standard of the discipline and the arrangement, and I was surprised to see the dedication of the workers. And I have analyzed from various sides, from the very critical point people look at that. She said that I could not find any fault in the arrangement. I looked at every arrangement very critically, but in every department the arrangements, they were very exceptional and very up to the mark. And when I looked towards them, everyone, young and old, men and women, everybody from all walks of life, they were very keen to provide comfort to other people. And everybody forgetting their own comfort, they were providing facilities and comfort to other people. They were ready for that, on smiling faces, who felt pleasure in serving other people. This, I will never ever be able to forget these faces in my life. These are become my part of my life now, and I wish that these values should be established in our country. And Jamaat Ahmadiyya is a learning academy, and in that the students of all countries, they should be coming as students. And when I look spiritually, everywhere there was an atmosphere of brotherhood, which increases in spirituality. And this is such an atmosphere which I experienced for the first time in my life. And perhaps the newcomers, they might have seen this atmosphere for the first time. She says, now I say that Islam, which is presented by the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, that can give peace to the world. And that is the solution of the world problems that the world is facing at this time. And then she says, the Imam Jamaat Ahmadiyya, the address to the ladies, that left me in deep thoughts. And other people, they don't take the ladies more than a slave. But Imam Jamaat Ahmadiyya, the leader of the community, she declared the ladies as the teachers. And she is the teacher of the generations who are coming under their protection and under their training. And these are the people who are the future of mankind. That the future of the mankind, future of the world is in the hands of ladies. This is what he mentioned. It's a great status which has been accorded to the ladies. And through this, a healthy atmosphere and society can be established. Guatemala, the member of the National Parliament, Elena Callis, she has also mentioned her sentiments. She said that participation in Jalsa was a unique opportunity for me. The Islam and Jamaat Ahmadiyya, regarding that, there is a big change which has occurred in my thoughts. And the media has given a negative image of Islam, that Islam is a religion of terror and violence. But in this gathering, the peaceful teaching, the beautiful picture of the peaceful Islam was shown in this Jalsa. And the motto of Jamaat Ahmadiyya, love for all, hatred for none, this is the way through which the worldly peace and brotherhood and justice can be established in the world. And she is looking after thousands of workers. The workers were looking after them. That was a wonderful scene to see. And then, and she mentioned about the speeches of in the ladies' side, that what is the status of the ladies. And she mentioned that the paradise lies under the feet of the mother. And then she says that as compared with the marquee of the men's marquee, so I found more comfort and peace in the ladies' marquee. This is a good example of the peaceful teaching of Islam, that the ladies' honor and its protection and total freedom is guaranteed in Islam. She says that now I'm going back, taking with me the concept of the peaceful teaching of Islam. The professor of Costa Rica, they participated in the Jalsa. They said that I have seen a new picture of Islam through this gathering. I have seen such a community of the Muslims who is unique in their mutual love and affection. And they present the true teaching of their peaceful Islam. And when I go back, I will tell the students and my colleagues that Jamaat Ahmadiyya presents the peaceful teaching of Islam, and that is really working on their motto. And these people become the means of our tabligh when they go back. And again, the advisor of the parliament, Douglas Sahib, says that in this annual gathering, I listened very carefully the addresses of the Imam of the Jamaat. I was greatly impressed by his personality, and also from the advice which he gave, that to forgive your enemies and to clean your hearts. Your heart is cleansed from all types of rancor, and this is the teaching given to us by the promised Messiah. And this is the thing which can really lead for the world peace. And from these speeches, I really benefited from these speeches. And the true teaching of Islam and the practical example of that, I was able to see during this Jalsa. The representative of the President of Haiti, Joseph by name, he says that before attending the Jalsa, there were so many reservations in my mind that what sort of Muslims they are and what will happen to me when I go there. But after attending this Jalsa, all my doubts have been completely removed. Everybody was an example of simplicity and service and dedication, and there was a life of brotherhood everywhere. He said, I am not a religious person, but by attending this Jalsa and after meeting the Imam of the Jamaat Ahmadiyya, that I feel that if there is a true religion, that is the Ahmadiyyat in Islam. And from Burkina Faso, the President of the Human Rights Commission, he attended this Jalsa. He says that when I was invited to come and attend this gathering, then I was very much surprised that I am neither the member of the Jamaat nor I am a Muslim. But still, I am being invited to attend a Muslim gathering. And after attending this Jalsa, I saw that the Jamaat, without any consideration of color and creed, they are spreading their arms for love and affection with everyone. They are showing respect to all the people and take care of all the people. He says, I have heard the speeches of various religious leaders when they talk. So they say that as if they are right and they are playing with the sentiments of the people. But in the speech of the Imam Jamaat Ahmadiyya, I have listened very carefully. And the central point of the speech was that the peace of the world should be established. This was the central point of the speeches. And this is the teaching because of which the peace can be established. And we can defeat terrorism and extremism like that. And the delegation from Croatia, a lady, Salik Sahiba, was there. She says that I was a nun serving in a church, and I was in search of truth. And she says that atmosphere of the Jalsa and the exhibitions held here and the other information that I got, that has given a new light to my mind. And I hope that very soon I am going to end this journey of the search of truth. The addresses of the Imam of the Jamaat Ahmadiyya and they have left a great mark on my mind. Now I am going to analyze all the things in minute detail. The delegation from the Croatia, there was a student, a member of the delegation. He said that the arrangements of the Jalsa, they were in the love and affection, and the arrangements during the Jalsa, the young children with the devotion and love, they were serving the duty of feeding the water to the people, or as the traffic was being controlled, and also the standard of cleanliness, the efforts which were being done, they have left a deep mark on me. And I have participated in meeting for the first time, but all these memories, I'm going to keep these memories all the time. The Jamaat should keep contact with these people. There was a couple from Croatia. They came last year. They were Muslims, and those who participated this year, now they said in the meeting to me that last year we came as an ordinary Muslim, but this year we are participating as an Ahmadi Muslim. So there is a great blessing of Allah Almighty. It is a means of tabligh. From Philippines, the congressperson Sonward Belarojers Rojo Jr. He attended the Jalsa. He enjoys a good position in the Congress. He said this was an eye-opening experience for me. I learned quite a lot of things. And the best thing is that the members of the Jamaat, they meet one another with devotion and love, and they try to help other people. So this impact which is created in the hearts of the other people, this should always be kept in ordinary circumstances, and this is a big responsibility of the Ahmadi. This should not be just something to be shown in few days, but it should be a permanent one. He says that this experience has increased my information and knowledge about Islam, and I have been introduced to such a beautiful teaching of Islam which I never knew before. After coming to the Jalsa, I came to know that regarding Islam, the things which are projected in the media, they have got nothing to do with Islam. There was a guest from Ireland, Daniel, who is he is a head of the police diversity committee in Ireland. He says, so this was my first annual gathering on the occasion of this Jalsa. So I had the opportunity of very good natured, pious, dedicated workers this year, and people are very much impressed by the dedication of the people. Those people who not only mention love for all, hatred for none, but all the workers of the Jalsa, they served selflessly, dedicatedly the guests who came, and they openly mentioned this thing. He says that I am grateful to you that you provided me such a great opportunity, and that has provided me the opportunity to ponder over about the teaching of Islam. And then he says that before your address, the poem which was recited, that greatly affected me. From Holland, a guest, Mr. Bondun, says that the atmosphere of the Jalsa Salana was very good. From this great function, I learnt quite a lot, and I met memorable meetings with the people, and there was a flavor of a positive message in the atmosphere, and the dedicated services of the people, workers, looking at the youngsters serving the mankind and the guest. I developed a new hope in my mind that I have attended Muslim and non-Muslim speeches, but this thorough involvement of the youngsters I have never seen before. And the Queen Counsel of UK, a senior barrister, Mr. David Martin, he says, and that what I am going to say, they are not my words, They are the voice of my heart. And I have not attended such a meeting. What a nice people and wonderful community. From my mother, I am basically a Jewish person. I have been going to Church of England, but I can say with full confidence that such an example of the Jalsa I have never seen elsewhere, anywhere. He says, what a beautiful picture of Islam you are presenting. I am surprised that from the BBC, there is no documentary has come from BBC. Why they have not made any documentary about this Jalsa so far? I understand that BBC people now are trying to make a documentary so that the people may be able to know regarding the Jamaat Ahmadiyya, their doctrines and their practices. A guest from Sierra Leone, he expresses his feelings saying that by looking at the arrangement of the Jalsa, I was greatly impressed. If I had not come here and somebody would have told me that in this way more than 37,000 people, they came for 3 days and there was no unpleasant situation, so then I might not have believed. But having seen all this with my own eyes, I am greatly surprised that I have never heard anybody complaining, and all the people very humbly and dedicatedly they were serving others. So the Razakar, the volunteers, our workers, the other people, they are greatly impressed by that. This is a very silent preaching which every worker is doing, boys, girls, young and old, everyone. So these are some of the views of the other people. Some Muslims also participated. Those who were the leaders of their and representative of their governments. I present some of the extra impressions of those people. Al-Jan Muhammad Salim, Vice President of Guinea Conakry. He is the Deputy Speaker, and he says that the arrangements of the Jalsa and the discipline, after having seen that, I am greatly impressed. Despite my effort, I did not felt any weakness in any department. The arrangements on a large scale and the participation of the people in such a number, there was no disorderly thing, there was no fighting, no quarreling. And he said, I have gone to Hajj and I have attended various religious programs in various Muslim countries. But such an arrangements, but this praiseworthy arrangements I have never seen anywhere. And this is the true spirit of Islam, which we were able to see it here. And this is very small children. The training of these children is also wonderful. The children ask, do you need anything? And whatever we need, they provide that. And they always meet with smile on their face. Not only once, but repeatedly they go on asking. And people came from various countries. Everyone was meeting with one another as if they are meeting with one's brother and with love and affection. And you are people, you are leading the way in goodness and you are on the right path. I am sure that certainly in the hand of Allah is behind you. I feel that. There are some people who do not join the community because there are certain worldly reasons which stop them from believing. They say that when we go back to our country, we will draw the attention of the government to these points, that they should help, the Jamaat should be helped in every matter, so that your community can guide us to the right path in our countries. And from Guinea Conakry, Hassan Gita Sahib, who is the National Director of the Police, he says that my department is police. So from security point of view, I analyzed deeply. There is a great arrangement of security in which I did not see any flaw. And he says that the speeches, after listening to the speeches of Imam Jamaat Ahmadiyya, I feel honored that I am a Muslim. The Member of Parliament from Sierra Leone, Ali Kazako Sahib, says that Ahmadiyya is the true picture of Islam, and Ahmadi Muslims, for the promotion of peace, the efforts they are doing, they are great services. And now the name of Islam is equated with the terrorism, but the Ahmadis, they are cancelling this concept. And it was a great opportunity. When small children were working, it was very soul inspiring. And this to prove the truth of Ahmadiyya, this whole scenario is just good enough. A member from Turkmenistan, he came. He says that 2 years ago, to a friend of mine, I heard about this community, and the slogan is love for all, hatred for none. So the day I have come from London, I'm just surrounded by love and affection, as if the parents and the family members are around me. The thing which has impressed me very much, and they have left a very big mark on my heart, is that the day we arrived from Turkmenistan to London, and from the airport we were brought to the hotel, and when we arrived there, then the students, the youngsters on the duty, they welcomed us. They said that you have, first of all, you have the food, you must be tired. And when by listening to that, I remembered one saying of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, which he mentioned in one meeting. He mentioned about a guest who came, and he asked that who is the one who can take the, and then he narrated the long hadith about that regarding hospitality. Anyway, he said, I have understood one thing from Jalsa, that the whole life I have spent my life in search of God, but I have found God only after coming here. By the grace of Allah, I also attended the international bath ceremony, and I did the bath. He came here and did the bath, and he was very emotional when he was talking to me. He said that when I was joining the initiation, there were tears coming from my eyes, and these were the tears which I could not shed even at the death of my father. And I felt that perhaps these tears are without any reason, but later on, that now there is a hope on this earth, and such a big community of millions has been created, which is unique, and this community is going to erase the difficulties from the world, and they are ready for that. And some new converts, when they see this atmosphere of love and affection, so then it increases their faith. From Jamaica, a new convert lady, Mariam Sahaba, says that the speeches of Khalifatul Massih, and especially the international bath, is a very emotional experience. When I came to know that there are many workers who are serving here without any payment, so I thought that for the training of these workers, the Jamaat must be facing a very hard time. When I looked at these people dedicatedly serving, then I realized that this is a divine community, and the Khalifatul Masih has got a direct link with Allah Almighty, and especially the people working in car park. When I looked at them, despite the bad weather, they were diligently performing their duties. I was utterly surprised to see that, and in my whole life I have not seen such an example. From Ivory Coast, a mayor of a city, he came and he says that when I accepted Islam Ahmadiyya, so I heard so many negative things about the community. I was not aware full of Islam, but I was very much worried that how can I can find out whether these are the Ahmadis or Muslims or not. But then I thought I might not have committed by joining the community. But when I joined the community, so they invited me to come and to the Go and Jalsa. Then you will be able to see Ahmadiyyat from close quarter. And when he came here, then I saw the real picture of Islam. Each speech of the Khalifa of the time, it started with the name of Allah and His Messenger, and it finished with the name of Allah and the Messenger. Then the atmosphere of the Jalsa, I got the answer to my questions, that whether Ahmadis are Muslims or not. Now I can say with full confidence and pride that whatever decision I took, that was right. Ahmadis are true Muslims, and I am very satisfied on this point, that all the things they do, they are according to the Quran and the sayings of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. From Belize, the mayor of one area, Khalid, he also participated in the Jalsa. He says that the participation in the Jalsa was a wonderful experience. It appeared as if every member of the community is dedicated to my service. And so I was greatly interested in learning more about Islam. So there I have learnt the lesson of brotherhood and kindness, and I am taking this message back to my home. This is something which I see everywhere, here and there. I wish that I can take this, putting it in a bottle and take back to Belize, and so that I can distribute it among the people over there. And the arrangements of the Jalsa was very good. As I was welcomed here, that I will remember all the time. I will be grateful to all the people that you invited me to come over here. And then he said that once in the guest marquee I was alone, some Khuddam, they came to me, and I knew that they have come to me only for this reason, that I have come from abroad and maybe I am feeling lonely. So I was very much impressed by that here the youngsters, they have the feeling that we have to look after our guests. How do we have to deal with them? And then regarding the international bath is a very impressive thing. I have mentioned some examples. There is another thing which I mentioned. The member of the Croatian Parliament, a family, they participated in Jalsa, and with reference to the international bath, they said that there is, the name of a person is that this ceremony of the international initiation that impressed me very much. I have such meetings in the Christianity I have attended, but the dedication and the loyalty with the religion and the feelings that I have seen in this ceremony, that is a unique and surprising thing which I saw, which I will remember all throughout my life. Then there is an Egyptian doctor, Khani Vishwan Sahib. He says at the time of the international bath, he joined in the Jalsaga. Then the rows of the people were spreading out. I was very much impressed, and I was surprised to see that. He says in our country, this type of order and discipline is impossible. His feelings were so much that at the time of the bath, he joined one community, and istighfar and Arabic sentences he repeated after that. It does not mean that he did the bath, but in an emotional way, he did. The situation was there, and he said like this, and he repeated this wording, and now he's going to think about that. The press, the attention to the community, by impressed by the community through the press activities, and the press is compelled to give the true picture about Islam. The French newspaper Liberation, there is a lady journalist, she expresses her comments that when I arrived here, that first I was worried that the arrangement of men and women is separate. But when I looked at the Jalsaga, that instead of ladies, the men are preparing the food. And I went to the ladies' side, that because of the separate arrangement, the ladies were more free, and the ladies were given total independence, and all the things they were performing according to their will and mind. So the youngsters, those people in the name of freedom, they say that they are being cruel treatment is given to them, so they should consider these things mentioned by other people. Then from Bolivia, there was a representative. He said that according to the West, the ladies are kept behind and there is no status given to them. But I have seen here that Imam Jamaat Ahmadiyya, he was giving the awards to the ladies who with distinction, and they are being awarded with the prizes. So I had this great desire that I will definitely write in my newspaper with this reference. Is there any leader who has ever addressed only ladies only? Ever? Never. It has happened. A lady journalist says at the international bath, she repeated the wording along with other people. She does not know that I don't know what happened to me at that time, but this type of feeling in my life, I have never had this type of feelings. And I could not control, but I continued repeating these words. First I thought that in such meetings, in order to incite the sentiments, music should be there, because without music this cannot be done. But now I have come to know that this sort of sentiments and feelings, they were pouring out automatically, and there was no need of any music at all. From Bolivia, another journalist, Carlos, he says that this thing has made me extremely impressed me about the community. That is, through the establishment of peace, their zeal and dedication. This is such a message which is most important in this age and time. And in this way, to various nations and to the countries, to bring all these people together, this desire is also greatly praiseworthy. And then he says, and this point was also surprising to me, that such a vast arrangement is there, is on voluntary basis. This tells us that all the jobs, all the things, however difficult it may be, that can be done with the belief and the dedication. It can be done. And then he says that Imam Jamaat Ahmadiyya, he spoke about the duties of the men and women, and my doubts were removed, and the beauty of the Islamic teaching about men and women was once again highlighted to me, and I was very satisfied. And he said that the success of the ladies is something very good. So it means that it is imperative for both men and women that they should work together for the peace of the world, first on the level of their family, and then local level, and then the country level, and on all levels they have to work together. And they say the concluding message, the concluding address, and this is not only good for the Jamaat but for the whole world. So anyway, the atmosphere of the Jalsa and those who perform the duty, there is a great impact, and all right-minded people, they are impressed by that. Allah Almighty may reward all those who did the job, and also those who participated, those who have and these people actually become the campaign of the silent preaching to the people. And all the workers, men and women, boys and girls, we have to remember all these people in our prayers. This time, because of the rain, some arrangements were slightly affected by that. But despite that, the workers, they very diligently and very wisely, they looked after their responsibility, and nobody felt any shortcoming. The water was stopped for a time being, but generally it was all right. Most of the people who have written to me, the Ahmadis, those who have written to me, they are all good. And there are some people who have mentioned something negative. But in such a huge gathering, as I said, on this temporary arrangement, there are some flaws and shortcomings. But all the workers, the boys and the girls and the children, they are really deserving of our thanks. And on the administration, that all those points are the shortcomings. I am sending these things to the administration. They should be noted in the red book, and they should try to improve in future. Similarly, the press has also given good coverage through the media with reference to Jalsa Salana. 358 news were published, and more are coming out. Online, to 36 million people got the message, and through the radio and television, 31 million people got the message, and on social media, more than 18 million people got the message through social media, and through live streaming of MTA. On the last day of my speech, 250,000 people, they listened to this on, and through all these more than 128 million people got the message altogether. And the media outlets, the covering, and BBC TV, BBC Radio, ITV, Independent, Times, Sunday Express, London Evening Standard, New York Times, Facebook Live, Associated Press, and Press Association, Indian News Agency, PTI, French News, Liberation, and Unilight. Anyway, on this such a large scale, the press coverage and the message of Islam and the true message of Islam reached there. So we should be very grateful that through the press this so many people have got the message. In Africa, the coverage of Jalsa Salana was there. MTA Africa. Apart from that, on 10 channels the proceedings of Jalsa Salana was shown. It was more than 150 hours. Through these channels, more than 60 million people, and they came to know the proceeding. In these 10 channels, they televised all these speeches directly live. In Sierra Leone as well, continuously 100 hours they showed the live coverage of the Jalsa on Sierra Leone TV. In Bo and Kenema, and they telecast the full proceeding, and they stopped their local transmission, and the whole country people, they saw the proceeding of the Jalsa. In the Gambia, first time the national television, the speeches of the Jalsa, they were televised for the first time. The live transmission of the Jalsa, part BBC Uganda, they gave the news in Swahili of the Jalsa, and about 20 million people see that. And Ghana National Television and the news channel, about 5 million people got the information. And through newspaper and television, in all the African media inclusive, 35 million people, they got the information. These are all the blessings of Allah Almighty. Our efforts are very small. And in this respect, all the efforts in the press and media section, I would thank those. And in other countries, the press and media section who are there, they work very hard. Allah Almighty reward them and bless them. On very large scale, these news, they become the means of our tabligh. May Allah enable us to perform our responsibilities in the best possible manner and to absorb the blessings of Allah Almighty. We should always be preferring the religion over the world, and we may be able to discharge our responsibility. And one thing was missed out, I may mention, that this year, like the last year, from Canada, the Khuddam came from there, those who took part in wind-up of Wakarimal, and they came on a chartered 300 or 350 people. They came on a chartered plane, and they were working, and until yesterday they have been, from the end of the Jalsa until yesterday, they have been working very hard. And by the grace of Allah, most of the thing wind-up has been done. And then from today, since yesterday, the UK Khuddam has again started, and they will be doing on the weekend. Allah Almighty reward them. And the Khuddam from Canada, I'm sure that those who came before Jalsa, I hope that they would have listened. If they have not listened, so that is wrong. So then when they come, then they should, during the Jalsa, they should listen to the proceeding and then attend to the other responsibilities. Allah Almighty reward all the people, to the male workers and the female workers, and whatever we have learned during this Jalsa, enable us to make it a part of our life. After the prayers, I am going to lead the Janaza prayer in absentia. One is Mukarrama Zakiya Begum Sahiba, who is Colonel Mirza Dawood Ahmad Sahib's wife, and Nawab Amtul Hafiz Begum Sahaba and Abdullah Khan Sahab, the daughter.
और 23 जुलाई को ये
23rd July,
रात को ताहिरात इंस्टीट्यूट में 94 साल की उम्र
she died at the age of 94 in Hadhrat Institute in Allah wa Inna Ilaihi Raji'un. Colonel Mirza Daud Ahmad Sahib, she was the wife, and Hazrat Mirza Sharif Ahmad Sahib's son, and in this way he was related to the promised Messiah alayhi salatu wasalam. She was the granddaughter, and also she was closely related. For the last 3-4 years she was not feeling well, she was ill, and I have been thinking she was in hospital, and she was a Musia and very old wasiyat, and there were 5 children. Amtu Shafi Sahiba, Mahmood Ahmad Khan's wife, and he was the grandson of Hadhrat Nawab Mubarak Begum Sahiba. Then Ahmadul Nasir, Sayyid Shahid Ahmad Sahib was her husband. And Amtul Muiz in America, and Amtul Nasir Nigat. Allah Almighty enabled her children to always advance in piety and nobility, and all the good things their forefathers have done, they may be able to promote that. Zakia Sam, she was president of Lajna in Karachi for some time, and during the stay in Kohat, she participated in Lajna work. Nawab Amtul Hafiz Begum Sahaba, regarding the children, has written about his children, and she has especially praised. And when Nawab Abdullah Khan Sahib passed away, then she looked after the mother, and in hospitality he was very outstanding, and she was always very outstanding in this character, in this quality, and she used to welcome all these people. Dr. Noori Sahib says that when I did the waqf, then she said that if I had a son, so I would like to dedicate my son. So now through your waqf, this desire has been fulfilled. Allah Almighty may exalt his status and have mercy upon her. The second, Mukarram Tariq Masood Sahib, Murabbiya Silsila. He was a missionary in Nazarat Islah Irshad. And on 24th of July, 27 years, because of electrocuted, he passed away in Rabwa, in Allah wa Inna Ilaihi Raji'un. Through great grandfather, the Ahmadiyya came into that family. He was from Azad Kashmir, and his father joined the community at the hand of Hadhrat Khalifatul Massih II. Tariq Masood Sahib, after school he joined the Jamia and had the education there. Tariq Masood Sahib, and 2016 he did the FA, and then 2014 he passed the Jamia, and he was a young a missionary, very pious, very caring his parents and looking after the friends, and he was looking after the poor people out of his modest allowance. Some people say that he used to help the other poor people. After 3-4 days he was going to get married, but before that Allah Almighty called him to himself. Allah Almighty may exalt his status and have mercy upon him. And he has left behind the parents and 3 brothers, Ashfaq Ahmad Zafar and Sarfarat Ahmad Jabed, Taur Rahim Sahib, and the mother writes that he was regular in contribution, and he used to advise other as well. His father says that he was greatly in love with institution of Khilafat, very pious person he was, and regular in prayer, and even before becoming missionary, he used to advise all the family members about prayers. And after the Fajr, he would recite the Holy Quran regularly. And by looking at him, we sometimes felt ashamed on our weaknesses. He was a very good person, always kind to the parents and never differed with the parents. And when there was something different, then he used to explain in a very humble way. He was very mindful of the honor of the Khilafat. And if somebody said against the administration of the Jamaat or the status of Khilafat, then he would immediately stop those people. And if they did not desist, then he would get up from that meeting. Allah Almighty may exalt his status and give solace and comfort to his parents. The third janaza, Shakil Ahmad Munir, who was a former missionary in Australia. 1st of July, at the age of 85, he passed away. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. He had the honor of translating the Holy Quran into Maori language. He was from Mongher, India, a province of Bihar. His father, Hakim Khalil Ahmad Sahib, he was the pioneers of Ahmadis in that area. In 1906, he did the Baitul at the hand of the promised Messiah in 1906. And his father, he acted as Nazir Talim. He had the honor of serving. Shakil Munir Sahib. Early education he had in Talimul Islam College in Qadian in Lahore, and then from Dhaka MSc Physics degree he obtained, and linked with the Department of Talim, and he spent long time in Africa, and he served there in various capacity. In Nigeria, Federal Ministry of Education, he was the Chief Education Officer there. Ahmadiyya Mission, Wari, Nigeria. He was the regional Sadr, president in that area. And the Nusrat Jahan Academy in Wa, he started there. And under Nusrat Jahan, the very first school which was opened there, he worked there. He was very fond of Tabligh, and he used to hold the inter-religious seminars in Nigeria. During that period, he wrote certain books about the books. Some of the books are, which he wrote, Islam in Spain, Shroud, Discovery about Jesus, Talimul Islam course book. And he also established a mission house in Nigeria at his own expense. As a result of the dream, he devoted himself. And Hadhrat Khalifatul Massih Rabbe, he accepted, and he was the first Amir and missionary in charge of Australia. On 5th of July in 85, he went to Australia, and there was difficulties in obtaining visa for Muslim missionary. They don't allow the visa. Dr. Jalsa of Uk Sahib, with his effort, he was able to get the visa, and he started his job. Masjid Baitul in Australia, it's a beautiful mosque there. In the construction, he has got a great role which he played there. Hadhrat Khalifatul Massih Rabbe laid the foundation stone of the mosque, and then in the construction, despite financial difficulties, with great effort, he completed that through Vakar Amal. He did Vakar Amal himself as well, but during the work, once he fell down from the stair and he broke his arm, but still he continued the job of construction, and then a beautiful and large mosque has been built. So wherever he went, so there was only a shed on one place which he purchased. So in that shed, they spent some time there, and on one part with a temporary surface they used to offer the prayer there, and he gave great sacrifice in that way. In 1991, he was appointed in Nigeria, in Elaro, as a principal. He worked there in Jamia Ahmadiyya. In 1989, when the Jubilee of the Ahmadiyya Jamaat was there, in 89, at that time, the selected verses of the Holy Quran, there was a campaign of translating those into 100 languages. In Australia, Maori Zuban was allocated to Australia, and when the translation was done, the standard, when it was looked at, so that was not right, that was not good. In the translation of the Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, the one who did it, he wrote, and he said in the name of Jesus instead of in the name of Allah. So he said that this translation is absolutely wrong. So then he learned the language himself, and in old age he learned the language and then completed the translation in 2013. And when I went to in Australia, then the whole translation of the Holy Quran was presented to the king. He was present there. He was very modest, very humble, and very selfless person. He did not have any feeling that he is a great scholar, and neither realized about his status. He earned and without any payment from the community, he serve the community. Allah Almighty have mercy upon him and exalt his status in merit, and give comfort and solace to the wife. And Allah Almighty may go on blessing with such people who are selfless, dedicated workers. May Allah bless the community with such people.